Hi guys, my name is Angela. If you're new here, I am documenting my quest to become a muscle mom. This is me sharing my journey to prioritize my health and my fitness and sprinkling that all throughout like every part of my life. Homeschooling, my second baby starts in the fall, so I'll be homeschooling 2 kids this fall. I have a toddler who is very clingy. Try to keep up on feeding everybody, keeping everybody's clothes washed, whatever else I can manage to squeeze in there. And then this is something that I am trying to really focus on and take control of in my life. Yeah, I just want to share it to maybe inspire other women, especially, to let them know that things don't have to be complicated. We can change our lives, just shoving this shit in wherever it will fit. So if you need someone to cheer you on, please comment below. I would love to follow along other people's journeys, cheer you on, hear your struggles, hear your triumphs. Don't get used to this, by the way. My hair is washed. Your girl got a shower in before she left today. I also tweezed my unibrow this week. I've accomplished so much, you guys. I chalk it up to the new knee braces. On that note, knee update. So where I left off last time was I had just gotten my MRI. They had posted results in my chart. I plugged it into ChatGPT to see if it could translate it for me, dumb it down a little bit. Everything that ChatGPT pointed out actually ended up being pretty accurate. So obviously there was a very small meniscus tear, which, I mean, that was obvious in just reading it myself. I didn't need ChatGPT to tell me that. But the PA did say, again, very small, no need for surgery right now. Ideally, as I strengthen my legs, support my knees better, hopefully always forever and ever and ever avoid ever tearing my meniscus again, especially in an extreme manner. She did say the tracking is likely the cause of the issues that I've had outside of just that injury, with like the popping, the snapping, the pain, the muscle guarding. So I told her, because it bounces, they only did the scan, the MRI on the left side where I had injured myself. But I said, I feel like it's probably pretty likely that it's happening not just on that side, but also on the right side. And she said, more than likely, yes. If you're experiencing these symptoms back and forth all the time, let's go ahead and get you 2 knee braces. So I got these crazy looking knee braces, and I've been wearing them almost all day, most days. And it's just made an absolute world of difference. I can stand out in the kitchen and cook and clean. I don't feel like I need to constantly sit down and take breaks. I can tell when they're not on, that mine, especially the right side, which is so crazy because a lot of the issues I've been having injury-wise have been on the left, but like the constant nagging, like the pain, the joint pain, the snapping, the clicking, that happens a lot on the right side. So if I'm not wearing them, I can really feel it, especially if I'm doing things like taking stairs or walking around a little bit more than usual. So I'm in them all the time. Sometimes too with the knee braces, it's almost like a mental part of it where it's telling my nervous system that it's okay to move, it's okay to do these exercises. I haven't had any muscle guarding at all since I started wearing the braces. It's kind of insane because I've forgotten what it had felt like to exist without my muscles above my knees tightening up every single day of my life. It's given me my confidence back to go ahead and start doing my workouts again. All good news. Things are finally heading in the right direction. So knee update aside, I want to delve into part 2 of my diet deprogramming series. And this series that I'm doing is about how I still am peeling back the layers of diet culture that has been programmed into me since I was a child, unfortunately. And I know that's not a unique experience. It's been hammered into all of our heads. Before we get into it, though, I guess since this is the internet, I should probably put out the disclaimer. I'm not a doctor.
I'm not a rapper.
I'm not a certified anything in any type of medical health, whatever, nutrition field. This channel is just me sharing my personal experiences. It's all for entertainment. Obviously, every single person is different. What works for me may not work for you. You should always consult your physician or the professionals in your life if you're going to start anything new. Okay, so if you haven't watched my last video, I do recommend going back and checking that out before you watch this video, just because I delve a little bit into like my feelings about AI and its shortcomings, whatnot. But we're going to talk a little bit more about AI in this video. And if you want to know my actual feelings about it, you can go check that one out. Everything I'm going to tell you today about my involving AI into this, take it all with a grain of salt. I was going back and fact checking things. I wasn't taking anything that chat said to me as gospel. All right, so where I left off last time, I was following that inner voice that was telling me like post your Renfo metrics, your last weigh-in into ChatGPT and ask it for a more accurate TDEE. This time last year, I think I was using what I had just figured out from an online calculator where I just like plugged in what I thought my information was. And I was trying to eat between 16 to 1800 calories a day, and it at that point had stopped working for me. So back in November of last year, I get that little voice. The first thing I do is I take a screenshot of my Renfo scale weigh-in. So if you don't know what a Renfo scale is, it's just like a brand of bioimpedance scales that will track not just like your weight, but it's also your body fat, your muscle, your bone, your water, like all of these different metrics. I'll post the screenshot here. Again, this is the one from like November of last year that I initially sent into ChatGPT. Then chat comes back with like just this information from this screenshot. It tells me that my TDEE, my daily maintenance calorie, could be up to 2,500 calories just based on this picture of these stats alone. And that's like even if I'm mostly sedentary, not up and moving around, which for me, I'm not sedentary. I am on my feet a lot throughout the day. And so with that information, it was saying that I could potentially be up to like 2,800 calories a day just for maintenance. Even though back then I wasn't doing fitness, I wasn't doing lifting, I wasn't working out, I was still on my feet all day, every day, like doing the stuff that a stay-at-home parent does. If that is correct, if chat tells me your maintenance calories are 2,800 if you're active, and I'm trying to eat at like 1,800 calories, like on a higher day, that's 1,000 calorie deficit. So in my mind, if I'm approaching this as like a simple math equation, you know, everyone says, oh, calories in, calories out, that's it, get in a deficit. I'm in 1,000 calorie deficit. The fat should be melting off of me, yet it is not, and I know that it is not. This difference and like knowing that that's not actually what's happening was kind of what lit that little spark in me to start going down this rabbit hole. So then it says to me like, hey, you know, if you give me age, sex, height, yada, yada, all these other statistics, I could probably tailor this to you even more. So I think I give it that information. It tweaks it. However, I can't really remember. It may have gone up a little bit, but then I'm like, hey, but what if I track my calories for like the next 5 to 7 days and my weigh-ins and all that? Like, do you think that would give me like a more realistic maintenance number? You know, and of course it's like, yes, give me that information and we can make it happen. We can figure it out even more fine-tuned, even more accurate, even more precise. So I think I asked it like, hey, so if I'm tracking calories, like what should I stick to this week? And I think it said like 2,600 calories. And so like everything I eat, everything that goes in my mouth, I'm writing it down. Like it's 5 pieces of candy, doesn't matter. I'm writing it down. So I'm like religiously tracking for maybe 5 days. I'm weighing in every single day. I do end up losing a little bit of weight on that range that it told me to stick to. And so then I take that information to chat. I plug it in from that whole week. I ask it to like reconfigure based on the data to give me a more accurate maintenance number. And I told it, can you factor in water weight? Because like obviously the first week of any weight loss attempts, there's always water weight. So it factors that into everything it's analyzing for me. And I think at the end of all of that, it actually increased my maintenance number a little bit, maybe up to like 2,800. And then right around that same time, I had just gotten this Fitbit actually. My mother-in-law didn't need it anymore. She had like upgraded to something else. And this was just like sitting in a drawer. And I was mentioning how I wish that my old Fitbit didn't die. I might get a new one because I wanted to like track my actual activity throughout the day, because I'm thinking like that information also would be really good to have to figure out what my actual activity level is when I'm factoring things in to figure out maintenance. I get this Fitbit and I'm like asking chat like, hey, if I plug in my steps, will that help? Yes, obviously it's more data, it's going to help. And then I'm like, well, what other metrics would be good for you to have, whatever. Just like, I'm just being curious, once I like go over everything, it spits back out to me. I end up with this list of metrics that I'm supposed to start tracking from my Fitbit, along with like my food log information, my macros and all of that. I'm going to read this list off of my computer because there's no way I'm going to remember to say all of them. I started uploading daily check-ins to this same ChatGPT thread that I had started all of this with. It was stats including the calories, protein, water, and steps that I had done the day before. And then that day, when I woke up in the morning, like what my weight was, what cycle day it was, what my sleep duration was from that night, including deep sleep, REM sleep, and then also heart rate variation and your resting heart rate, which can also be other indicators of health and recovery and things like that. And then it also asks for skin temp variation. And I think more of that was like to do with cycle tracking and ovulation. So I'm like treating this fully as a science experiment. Every bit of food that I eat, like plugged it into MyFitnessPal, because it didn't matter to me whether I went past my calorie goal or I didn't meet my calorie goal or I didn't hit my macros. Like I knew that if I lied to myself and I lied to this experiment, then it wouldn't give me the information I needed. Approaching this from this direction in a way that I never had before was like, it finally removed emotion from health, fitness, and eating for me. And like, I'm an emotional eater.
Emotional, damn it!
That has always been my comfort. I've struggled with binge eating at other points in my life, or, like trying to undo bad behavior around food. There's all this stuff tangled up, and all of a sudden it's like somebody took scissors and just cut those ropes that were all tangled up around me and my brain of like food and emotion. It was like I decided this was just data. This is a science experiment. And then like poof, there's no more shame. There's no more emotions. There's no more guilt. There's no more shoulda, coulda, woulda around food anymore. It's just data. I'm just recording it all. So the shift in mindset was kind of like miraculous. I mean, it was a 180. I still have moments, of course, but they're so fleeting and they're so easy to talk myself off the ledge from. Thinking about that, like how valuable it is to like remove feelings from nourishing my body. Even with all the qualms I have about AI, like I would be lying if I said I wasn't grateful to this tool that like, I know I made that change. It just felt insane, like how it changed my perspective. So like through the process of these daily check-ins, I would occasionally go down rabbit holes of responding to things that ChatGPT would prompt me with at the end of each of its responses. That's something I had to be really aware of, not to get sucked into it too deeply. I know that has to be built into the design, right? To keep people like locked in. You ask a question, it answers it and you're done. Like, no, they want you to keep talking to it. They want you to keep training it. Like, it's a little...
Our programming determined that the most efficient answer was to shut their motherboard fucking systems down.
You think you're the one prompting it, but then it starts prompting you. I think that's just something to always be mindful of and wary of if you are using this stuff. But on the other side of that coin, it would like make mention of something that would stoke my curiosity about my body, like my physiology, and give me answers to questions I actually didn't even know I had in a way. And of course I was taking information that it was saying to me and I was trying to fact check it when I felt like that was necessary. I wasn't taking anything as gospel. Like none of it to me was like 100% truth. But I did kind of find it beneficial when that would happen because it would maybe mention something more unique to me and like my current experience and how that might impact my goals and how maybe I should set my goals a little bit differently than, what the mainstream thought was for fitness or weight loss. So like, for example, that back and forth with chat, going down that path of like answering its prompts and getting curious about like what it's bringing up kind of led me to find out that my muscle mass is actually like exceptionally high, especially for a woman. It said something about it being metabolically expensive. And I'm like, what does that mean? And it was like, well, you're going to have a higher maintenance because you have more muscle and that's expensive to maintain calorie wise. Like it is metabolically active tissue, whereas fat is really not. And that was helping me to understand and come to terms with the fact that, yes, my maintenance actually can be like this close to 3,000 calories, because I was still struggling to wrap my head around that. I was like, well, yeah, I know I move a lot. And like, I was thinking I'm big, so maybe it's carrying the extra weight. But it actually wasn't just that. It was the quantity of muscle that my body carries and how many calories my body needs to maintain. And so that whole scenario, that's one of the things that I mean when I talk about how it's not as simple as calories in versus calories out when it comes to losing body fat. It's just not as black and white for me as it might be for an average, typical female body. This video is obviously, as always, getting too long, so I'm going to stop things here. That was the universe telling me to wrap it up. In my next video, I'm going to discuss some more of the unique things that I learned through like the 4 months of tracking. If you've stayed this long, thank you so much. Please remember to smash the like button, hit subscribe, leave me a comment about the journey you're on. On that note, that's all I have. I love you so much. Bye.